Welcome to another video episode of TalkingWithHeroes.com, and thank you for your service.us. I am Bob Calvert, and for those of you who know me around the country, I am the founder. We've been on the air now with audio and video programs for over 11 years, including the 6 years we went back and forth to Iraq and Afghanistan. If you want to watch some amazing videos with our troops as they were serving over there and helping people, just go, first of all, go to my homepage, talkingwithheroes.com. We have a lot of videos there. This video we're doing right now here is going to be on my homepage and YouTube. And so I'm here right now with an organization that I have actually worked with before. My very, very good friend, Dennis McCormack. We can talk about him a little bit, say hi to him. That's how I found out about the homefrontcares.org. And so we're going to learn a little bit about a nonprofit here in Colorado Springs. Was it 20, how many years?
We were established in 2004.
2004. And the work they do is amazing, and you're going to hear about it. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to Eric Evans. He is Executive Director of the homefrontcares.org. Welcome. Thank you for having me out here. Yes, absolutely. So why don't you start out and tell people a little bit about yourself? We have something in common. Neither one of us have actually served.
Right. No, I'm a military brat. Grew up here in Colorado Springs. My parents moved here in 1982. My dad was in the Air Force. He's a retired senior master sergeant. So when we got here in Colorado Springs, much different town then, we lived at the Air Force Academy. After he retired, my parents moved off base. They live in Briargate. I've got two brothers who actually were in the Air Force as well. They served both one in Desert Storm and the other one here in Colorado Springs right now is currently retired. They both are, and so I think my family, including my brother-in-law, we probably have, I think, over 70 years, I want to say, maybe plus, of service of the Air Force. So a long line of the long blue line with the Air Force, and so I've grown up around the Air Force, and I was born in Japan, Yokota Air Force Base, Japan, and then my parents moved around a little bit. I'm the youngest of four, so I didn't get to move as much as my brothers and my sister did, and then so my parents, like many people, decided that they would stop. This would be the last stop. Colorado Springs would be it. So like many people who make that decision to say, hey, this is it, it's beautiful. Of course, we've got the mountains, and as retired military people, you've got the support of the bases here in town. So it was a logical move for my parents to stay here, and I'm glad they did. Having grown up here, gone to high school, I went to Rampart High School, I went to Colorado State University, and so Colorado is what I know and what I love. I married my high school sweetheart, and we both live here in Colorado Springs, raising two boys that both go to Coronado High School, and so, yeah, really, my career started off in human services, and really still is in a way. I started working with youth some years ago out of college. I helped start a nonprofit agency here in town called Urban Peak. I was working with homeless and runaway youth here in the city of Colorado Springs. And most recently, I work with Catholic Charities. I was the Vice President of Income and Relief Services at Catholic Charities. Help start programs there to get people back on their feet, help those who were homeless find employment, and also helped with rent and utilities, kind of what I'm doing now, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that as well. But it was my work there through really charitable nonprofits that led me to the Homefront Cares. So, that said, when I heard about the position here as Executive Director at the Homefront Cares when it came open last spring, I was immediately drawn to it, and I was drawn to the mission. And the mission there is to serve our military, active duty military, and retirees, and more so retirees now. But I was drawn to making sure that we served those who serve, and so that's really the lure for me, or was for the Homefront Cares, and that's what gets me passionate, is to be able to help serve our military in different capacities, and again, those who served our country, looking at our veterans now. And so I've been here since May of this year, May 1st, as a matter of fact, was my start date here at the Homefront Cares. It's amazing. You know, the mission of the Homefront Cares is to provide an emergency financial bridge and responsive support to Colorado's military members, veterans, and their families impacted by service to our nation. And so that says a lot. And so what we do here at the Homefront Cares in providing that financial bridge is a vetting of our clientele. And so we have a strict vetting process. We look at that financial need. And again, we're servicing veterans of all eras. So we're talking World War II veterans. We're talking Vietnam era veterans, Korean War, and of course, Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom veterans as well. And they're probably our primary clientele right now. However, again, we stretch through all services, all branches of our military, and take great pride in that. And we have that responsive support being that we have a very quick turnaround. And so when when we're able to assist a veteran through referrals from the VFW, the VA, Rocky Mountain Human Services, we have a quick turnaround. And so once we take a look at that financial hardship, we do take a look at bank statements and we make a decision. We've got a fantastic team here of program people, case managers, our program manager, Amy Cutler, amazing job. So what they'll do is work in partnership with, or in cohesion with, our board of directors. We've got a client review committee. So once that case is reviewed and accepted, we have about a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. We can get that check, then pay to the landlord, pay to the car repair shop, pay to the utilities to keep people's lights on, help veterans sometimes get into housing, help veterans stay in their housing. And so this past year, I believe we've helped over 1,000 individuals. Close to $350,000 worth of financial assistance just within the last year, and that's statewide. That's both Colorado Springs, that's Denver, that's the Western Slope, that's Eastern Plains. We've got veterans all over the state, and so again, when they have that financial hardship, we pride ourselves on being there. And sometimes when we can't help a veteran, we do provide resources back to that veteran to make sure that they're not forgotten, that their cause is not forgotten, and we'll make sure that we link them to another resource, either locally or a state resource. We do get calls from veterans out of state, and we serve Colorado, and so money that's raised here in Colorado, that stays here in Colorado, and that goes directly back to our veterans here in the state of Colorado that need our assistance the most.
You mentioned earlier as I was coming in that I've been working with r4alliance.org for about 3 years now. It's amazing how it's growing with all these groups working together when they can, collaborating.
Right.
But you've all been doing that here for years.
For years, yeah. And really we started in 2003. Bob Carlone, Joe Henjum, two retired Air Force colonels who served in the Vietnam War, and of course they lamented the treatment of our soldiers and themselves, of course, when they returned from Vietnam, and then determined to make sure that our veterans after 9/11, serving in Iraq, Afghanistan, that when they return home, that they would have an agency here locally that would help our Colorado veterans or military members. At that time, when we were first established, it was to help military families, and so that was the emphasis. That was our clientele. And it's changed over the years. The response, the resources that now the bases provide have gotten much, much better, and thank goodness for that. And so our focus now has changed more to a veteran population. Now we're still there to help with military family. We've got the Welcome Home Heroes, where we're still on the flight line, meeting the planes when they come back. We're still doing that. Yeah, we still have board members and volunteers who spearhead that program as part of the Global War on Terror, and so we still do that. So the burgers and the drinks are still there on the flight line. However, our response now is geared more towards a veteran population, and so working with veterans. So most of the calls that we get are from veterans who served our country. From you're talking anywhere from, and there's no limit there. Right. When we're talking World War II veterans. And so we're there and having that responsive support now, primarily to our veterans here in Colorado.
The course, I mentioned earlier being a close friend of Dennis McCormack.
And I've never met him, but I hear great things about him. You can't travel this town and meet with some of our partners, especially, of course, those who serve the military, that his name does not come up. And I'm always asked, how's Dennis? And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet. I'm sure that's going to happen. We've got our dinner coming up in September, and hopefully he's going to be able to attend that.
That would be neat if I could be there too. And
yeah, it's so.
Camera again.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, I can't wait to meet him again. It feels like I know him because our board always talks about Dennis. Our partners in the community, we go to Mount Carmel, or if I go to Peak Military Care Network, his name is often brought up. And so one of our founders, really, he had a large part in our board of directors, and I have to mention that. It wasn't until just over 7 years ago, I believe, when we hired our first executive director. Her name is April Speak, my predecessor, that this was a board-run agency. And so our board was and is still very active in what we do on a day-to-day operating basis. So we've got an advisory board and board of directors who take an active approach in working with our veterans. And so that would be serving on different committees. Again, the client review committee is a board source committee where our board will help actively make decisions on these cases and give us the approval for the expenditure, which on average is about $1,000 that we have and that we're able to provide. Sometimes it's more. When I talk about that financial bridge, sometimes we've got to extend that bridge for a veteran, and so maybe it's just not 1 month's rent. Maybe it's 2 months' rent to really get them back on track, to get their lives on track. And so we can extend that bridge whenever necessary. Or if it's to get a veteran, that was homeless into permanent housing, and maybe we need to take a look at not only that first month's rent, maybe that's helping with the deposit as well. Maybe that's also the application fee for that veteran. So we take great pride in, one, making sure that we vet each case individually, that we provide the resources necessary to help that veteran towards achieving long-term success.
That's great. Well, I know you've all been here a long time, and I remember sitting in many meetings with SIMS, the monthly SIMS meetings. It was always either Dennis or somebody else.
Right.
Angelo was there.
Yeah.
And then there was all these other groups, and I went to those meetings because I thought it was neat the way everybody tried to help each other, collaborate, because you can do more like that.
Right. And collaboration is it's critical. There are several agencies to provide services to veterans, and we want to avoid duplication. And so when we get to the table and we find out what other agencies, what their initiatives are, I think we have to gear our support and make sure that, one, the Homefront Cares is very unique in that it's 100% financial resources. So we take great pride in that, and our partners rely on us to be that responsive financial bridge to our veterans. And so, that said, when that unique need comes up, when Peak Military Cares Network gets that call and they have a veteran who, again, they need the financial support, we'll be there for that veteran and that agency that refers that veteran. In some cases, and give you an idea, it goes beyond financial, and we realize that we don't necessarily provide that, but that's where the resourcing comes in. That's where we look at our partners in the community. Mount Carmel being one of those places. So we've got, when we see that perhaps a veteran needs a better grasp of their finances, then we might refer there. Or if there's a mental health need with Aspen Point and their partnership there at Mount Carmel, we'll try to mesh those two together to make sure that the veteran is getting all the resources that he or she needs.
Great. So for the military families, veterans families, maybe they think they may want to ask for help. What would they do? Let's start with going to the website.
www.thehomefrontcares.org. And now for military families, give you an idea here, at Fort Carson Air Force Academy, ACS, at the Air Force Academy, it's the Airmen and Family Readiness Center. They would go to those resources first, and hopefully get the help that they need there. However, if it goes beyond what they're able to offer on the military installations, that's when we'll start the application process for a veteran, and it starts there at those agencies, and then they will then contact us when that need for financial assistance is then needed. Of course, everyone can go to our website, and I would suggest that, and then contact us. And again, if you call the website, or excuse me, if you visit the website and you call the number that's on the website, we'll be sure to call you back within a very, very short time. We pride ourselves on that response. So if you contact the Homefront Cares, someone here from the office, someone from our program team, Kristen Fowler, Amy Cutler, Suzette, they'll contact you within a very short time, and then we'll talk about the referral process from there, which typically is a visit to one of our partners here in the community. We don't really necessarily have walk-in traffic here in our offices. We do work by referrals.
That's part of the big picture of collaboration.
That's right. That's part of the big picture, and that's why we rely so heavily on our partners here in the community. Those who support veterans, especially, and not always the case. When we talk about 211, which is run by sorry, that escapes me. That but 211 United Way. Sorry, United Way. 211, and so we'll work with them in looking at resources again that sometimes is not specific to veterans, but also when it comes to food, for instance, we might rely on one of our partners in the community, like my previous employer, maybe Catholic Charities or others. The Springs Rescue Mission for emergency shelter, the R.J. Montgomery Center for emergency shelter. When we don't necessarily do that, we will look at our partners in the community. Again, our service is geared specifically for veterans, but we'll make sure to extend that hand of assistance whenever necessary.
Great. Talk a little bit about do you need volunteers? What kind of help do you need? And you have a big event coming up too.
Yes, we love having volunteers serving in various capacities. There's a volunteer application here. I believe it's about 4 pages, and we do an orientation with our volunteers. We want them to understand what we do here, how we do things, and so you can also get that information by visiting the website. We have 2 very unique fundraisers that we offer, and we have various smaller fundraisers, but our largest fundraisers are the golf tournament that we do this past year. We had it at Sanctuary, and I think we have for the last few years, but Sanctuary is a beautiful golf course in the Castle Rock area in Sedalia, and it's owned by the Lineker family, who own Remax. And the Linekers have been extremely gracious to us by allowing us to host our tournament there, and so we have a yearly tournament there, which is phenomenal. I was fortunate to golf in it this year. Beautiful day. The golf course it's beautiful. It's extremely tough, but it's a great golf course. And we're also fortunate to have quite a few veterans that golf with us as well on that day, and our supporters come out, and it's phenomenal. We've got that, and of course our dinner this year is right around the corner. It's just over a month away. Is at the Broadmoor Hotel, For the Love of Our Troops, and this is For the Love of Our Troops 13 that's coming up, so our 13th year of doing that at the Broadmoor Hotel. Just expecting, this is my first dinner since I'm new, but we're expecting or hoping for 700 to 1,000 people to attend our dinner this year, which is great. Again, it's a fundraiser for us, and so we want to celebrate our accomplishments that night with the community, with our supporters, and we'll have Travis Mills, Staff Sergeant Travis Mills. I would encourage anybody to take a look at Travis, maybe on YouTube, and I believe he was just on the Ellen DeGeneres show as well. So we're excited to have him. Travis is, I believe, one of only 5 quad amputees. He suffered horrific injuries in Afghanistan, and having lost all of his limbs, he's got an amazing story of resilience, and of overcoming, the most extreme odds that one could endure, and making sure this. And he's a family man. I believe he's expecting another child. He's got one child, married. He lives in Maine, and he has a foundation there where he runs a camp where other veterans who have injuries due to their service can go with their families and heal and enjoy one another's fellowship. And so we're excited to have him come out and speak to our crowd that night, September 22nd at the Broadmoor. We have a reception starting at 5 o'clock, cocktail reception, followed by our dinner and program. And Travis will be a big part of that. And I, for one, if you haven't had a chance to listen to Travis and his message and hear the story, that's when you hear someone who's overcome those kinds of odds, that should give all of us great inspiration on what a person can do when faced with the most extreme circumstances that one can think of, and losing all of your limbs in service to our country. It's someone like Travis that when we talk about helping our veterans who have given everything to defend our freedoms. When you come to work, that motivates me. I know that motivates our team as well, to help a veteran who's gone through extreme circumstances and serve their country in whatever capacity that is. They're away from their families for months, years at a time. They put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms, and that's why we do. That's why we're here. And that's what we take great pride in, is making sure that those who serve their country are, treated with respect and dignity. And I think that's what Bob and Joe had in mind when they started this as a nonprofit entity. And that's what the legacy that we still uphold here at the Homefront Cares, is making sure that we're not going to leave anyone behind, and that we'll do what we can and everything that we can and make sure that a veteran, his or her family, are taken care of.
It's amazing to me. I don't know.
Sure.
It's amazing to me, though, over the last 11 years I've been doing this, so many veterans like Travis. They served their country, they went through all they went through, and now they're out there helping vets. Right. It's happening all across the country. Most of the R4 Alliance member organizations are being led by veterans or military families like us.
And I'm so glad. I'm glad you brought that up, because we are really, and again, we see. Initially, we were seeing most of our calls come in from the Colorado Springs area, given that we've got the 5 military installations here. But most recently, now the majority of our calls are coming from Denver.
Oh, really?
And so Colorado has got, of course, just like my parents when they decided this is where we're going to stay, this is where we're going to hang the hat, this is home for us. And there are a lot of veterans who come to Colorado and make this their last stop as well, or they've been here previously, and then they say, you know what, Colorado Springs, that was a great place to be. Let's go back and retire. We see that a lot. So we've got a large presence, not only here in Colorado Springs, but throughout the state of Colorado. And we want to make sure that the community knows that veterans still need services here in Colorado. That, although you're not seeing, like we should, in my opinion, the plight of our veterans who are serving right now in Afghanistan and Iraq and Korea, that I think sometimes the news veers off with other stories and doesn't focus as much, at least I think, as they should, on our men and women who are putting themselves in harm's way across the globe. That we're there. And so we've seen corporate giving slide a little bit for us, and I think that maybe that's part of it. And so we want to make sure that people understand that that there's a significant need. And as a nonprofit, we look at individual donations, corporate foundations, corporate giving and foundation also. We survive by that.
Right.
And so we provide a one-time financial assistance. We make sure that when we give that financial assistance, of course, that it's impactful for the veteran specifically.
Great. Well, it's been fun. I'm glad to have met you. Hopefully, I'll be able to. We talked about this earlier, but be at that event. I'd love to have Travis be one of those.
Yeah.
Do this interview, maybe with you.
Yeah, September 22nd. I'm excited about it. It's my first dinner. We'll have hopefully 700 to 1,000 people. I'd love for, again, just visiting our website. It's got the information on the dinner as well. And we're just looking forward to a big night with Travis and our supporters, the community coming out and really just talking about what the Homefront Cares does and continues to do to help our veterans here in our community.
Maybe we could do some programming with their. Sorry.
That's
sorry,
okay.
folks. Oh, gosh. Maybe what we can do is also do some video episodes with some of those sponsors and acknowledge it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
try to do that because it helps your nonprofit because they're getting more
That's right.
visibility too.
That's
which is
right.
good.
and I'll mention too, we've got another event that's coming up. You may have heard about Who Hot Cares. It's we have a Who Hot Cares Day. The Who Hot Restaurant,
say
Jay
Who
Warwick,
Hot Restaurant.
right? On September the 18th has a Who Hot Cares Day, and this is amazing to me. But Jay Warwick is their owner, and he does 100% proceeds for that day. So Who Hot Cares Day, September 18th, which is coming up. So every dollar spent at those stores, the Who Hot stores, Colorado Springs, Denver, I believe in Fort Collins as well. So 100% of their proceeds that day go to the Homefront Cares, which is amazing. And so they'll be our board members, myself, our staff, will be going visiting the different stores and supporting Who Hot and Who Hot Cares Day on September the 18th. Just an amazing day. And so Jay will be there that night. We've got so many different supporters. I don't want to mention all of them because I'd forget one. I don't want to do that. But they're amazing. We're Boyne, the Northrop Grumman's will be there. Our partners again and the community will be there, and it's just going to be a special night.
Okay. Well, maybe sometime ahead of time I'll come back out here and we'll have a little meeting and you tell me what you think would be good to have on video there.
Yeah, anytime.
That's what I'll do.
That'd be
I'll try
great.
to get some help this time.
Definitely, and we'll get you in contract with Audra. Audra is marketing communications, and so she's the person who sets those things up. And we've got a small staff here, but we've got an amazing staff of people. We've got a generalist. We've got, of course, Audra with marketing communications. We've got a program staff of 3. Myself, we've got a development director as well. She's getting married right now, but there's 7 of us, and I consider ourselves a magnificent 7. There's a lot of work that goes on in this office with 7 people and the support of our board and advisory board to help out the thousands of people that will contact us in various ways throughout the year. So amazing work.
So look at the camera, give your website address again, any messages you want to tell people?
www.thehomefrontcares.org. We need your support. Please visit the website. Like us on Facebook and all the other social media outlets. I believe we have a Twitter account as well. And so we'd love for you to come out, take a look at what we do and offer your support, whether it be volunteering to be able to, or if you're in a position to donate. Those dollars go to support our veterans, and so it's very, very important as a nonprofit, as executive director. That's what I do. I ask a lot of people for money. So, but again, that money goes right back to our veterans. And so, when you donate to the Homefront Cares, you can rest assured that you're helping. That your dollars are going to go help our folks who put themselves in harm's way on a daily basis, and their families, that when they leave the service, that they're going to be able to go to the Homefront Cares and receive the help that they need.
And I always like to end our programs by giving a shout out to our troops. You mentioned earlier, they're scattered around the world.
That's right.
Many of them in harm's way right now.
That's
Most
right.
people in America don't have any idea.
Every
Look at
day.
the camera and
Every
show.
day. And so if you're watching this, we thank you. I thank you personally. I'm an Air Force brat. I remember when my dad was in Greenland for a year and what that does to a family as well. When you're separated from your spouse, your mom, your dad, thank you for doing what you do. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Keep yourself safe, and can't wait to see you again.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me
Bob.
out here.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing what kind of collaborating we can do. I'm here.
It was
so,
a pleasure,
yeah.
and again, I want to get the word out to anyone who's willing to listen that we're here, and we're going to offer our support, and that's what the Homefront Cares does, and will continue to do in years down the road.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, folks, I also want to give a shout out to our troops. We're looking forward to all of you coming back home safe. You know, you're doing your job over there. I've been with you in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was never ceased to amaze me at what you all did, day by day after day, week after week, month after month, and sometimes in incredible heat. So keep doing a good job. Be safe. Stay alert. God bless you, and God bless America.